Oh no, no! Oh, literally, this film I cannot handle. Look, my hair's falling out. Oh, Oh. Hello there, hoppers, and welcome to this first thoughts video of Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Now, you have to bear with me because I'm currently suffering from tonsillitis, so I'm on a bit of medication and God knows what. Lucky enough, I was able to see Godzilla in a near-empty screen and wore a mask and everything, so it was all good. But, so I didn't, spread my germs, shall we say. I took precautions. And that's kind of one of the most fascinating things, I think, actually. The fact that it was opening weekend, really, and, it's been out for about a week, I think, here, and it was empty. Absolutely empty. And now I've seen the film, I can kind of see why. Because the film weren't great. In my personal opinion, it wasn't great. I remember sitting on my own, actually, doing a first thoughts video for Godzilla 2014. I was so annoyed because the trailer, the original teaser, my God, I shat my pants. And, I've not seen anywhere near that level of, excitement or suspense or anything since, because when the proper trailer dropped and all that, I had my doubts, and then when the film came out, I didn't like it. So now we've got Godzilla 2, as it's called elsewhere, so it's also Godzilla 2, King of the Monsters. And what can I say? It was okay, I guess, but in some parts it was just, well, terrible. So I can't even say overall it was okay, because technically, so many parts were really bad. Let's just start at the beginning. So, let's bear with me, I've got to keep liquidating. Oh dear. So, first things first, the film, starts pretty much with, well, the film pretty much just starts. I can't even remember that. The film was very forgettable for a start. I mean, I've had a day or two to kind of, go through it in my head, but my opinion hasn't changed. I'd need to see the film again, because that's another traditional kind of... There's kind of like a tradition for me, actually. When I first saw the first film in 2014, me and my mate were at college, and we'd just done like a whole day's... filming in a field, like it was really, really hot, sun beaming down on us, and some media students, and I was so knackered that when it came to watch the film, I was so tired. And obviously 2014's Godzilla was quite a boring film, and we got to the end where Godzilla was finally fighting, and I fell asleep. I was like that the whole time. Well, yesterday, when I saw this film, or the day before, I lose track of time. I'm on medication, people, forgive me. A couple of days ago when I saw the film, it was so freaking hot. Literally, it was so scalding hot that by the time we got into the film, there was a bit of aircon. And I was like, oh, I can finally relax. First time I've been able to relax all day. Because the house was, the house I live in, this house is freaking hot and all. So I was just like... Oh, in heaven, it was the best bit of aircon, it's the best bit of relief I'd had all day. So therefore, I wanted to go to sleep. I was like, oh, I can relax. And it was quite late showing of the film. It was just after 9, so it was, it was quite late, when the film actually started, that is. And because the film finished so late and because we was all so tired, we didn't bother doing the first thoughts for you guys, and that's why I'm here doing it now on my own. But, because I do have things to say about it, and, and, we're getting to that now. So, yeah, so the tradition of mine is falling asleep, apparently, during these films. I never normally fall asleep during any film. Much like, no matter how desperate I am for the loo, I'll never leave the cinema. If it's a film I haven't seen before, I'll never walk out of a showing. Even if it's the worst film ever made, I think I've paid my way. And even though I've got, like, an unlimited card, I'm still paying for that limited card. So I'm just like, well, it's like I remember watching The Purge, and halfway through it, I was just like, this film is so bad. Like, in my opinion, I don't think the film was any good. And I could have easily walked out the film there, but I didn't. I thought, no, I'm committed now. At least I can say I've seen it. I like to watch as much as I can, shall we say, because, it's one of my hobbies. So, I love talking about films and stuff. So, basically, I'll never walk out of a film. and all that. Bear with me, people. Sorry, this is pretty bad. I'm in a lot of pain. It hurts to talk, but this is my commitment for you guys. Just got to try and remember what I was saying. Bloody hell. Oh, so I'm just looking at side effects because I'm forgetting my trail of thought. As I'm talking, I just forget what I'm saying. And, you know, I'm on a powerful medication. You know, I thought that might be one of the side effects, but it doesn't list it. It lists a hell of a lot of different side effects. One of them is black hairy tongue. Black hairy tongue. I bet I'll get that. I wouldn't know whether whip out the freaking, you know, toothpaste or shaving kit, you know. Bloody hell. Black hairy tongue. Anyway. Godzilla. So, let's just carry on, shall we? So, yeah. So, traditions aside, where I seem to fall asleep during the action, which is the irony, and because this whole film had nothing but action, which is probably why very early on in the film I was nodding off. My friend had to keep tapping me on the shoulder. So I was an old man watching this film. I was so freaking tired, and half of it is because I'm so ill. I haven't been sleeping at all for like the last week or so. I haven't been sleeping at all, and as it is, I'm being treated for sleep apnea, so I never sleep anyway. So all that combined, you get one very unhappy, very tired bunny. So yes, so Godzilla. Overall, I haven't even started. So let's start with the monsters. So in this film, you've got some of the more traditional monsters. That was one of the biggest complaints with the 2014 Godzilla. It was just the Mutos, which was, you know, massive unidentified terrestrial object or something, and you know they weren't very good. Let's put it away. It's just basically like a Cloverfield monster. You know, it seems like they can't ever get those kind of monsters right. You know, and this one brought back, as promised, some of the classics, which, if you've seen Kong Skull Island, it was hinted at the end, although it weren't really a surprise, seeing as if you're waiting for the end credit sequence, the licenses for Godzilla and King Ghidorah, or Ghidra, sorry, and going up, as it's all scrolling up, all their licenses popped up, you're like, what? They were in the film? And then you see the artwork on the cave, and I'm just like, well, that would have been a good surprise if it weren't for the copyright. Can't you show the end credit sequences? That fucks off, and then there's just a quick flash of the copyrights, then it goes. Much like, I think some of the Marvel films and stuff, I think when they've had end credit sequences where they've shown someone new, it then goes and they quickly say, blah, blah, will return. Maybe it could be something like that. That would be better, but they kind of ruined the surprise there. So yeah, just to clarify, there is an end credit sequence at the end of this one. So if you're interested, watch that. If you don't want to wait around, then tough, because I can't actually remember exactly what the. Oh yeah, no, I do. I can't remember what it is. But anyway, we get to that. Oh dear, I know this is bad, people. I do apologise, but I am ill and I am trying. I still want to talk about this, so just forgive the shitness of this video. So. That's why I've got notes. I keep forgetting who I am and what I'm doing. It's a camera in my face. Okay, so first things first, the monsters. So they brought some of the classic monsters back. You've got Rodan, you've got King Ghidorah, or Ghidra, as it's more traditionally pronounced. And, you know, for the most part, they look okay, but I wasn't too satisfied in general, just because you saw like close-ups of Rodan and it just looked scaly. So it was more, you know, I don't know, I think, you know, it could have maybe had some feathers or something like that. I know Rodan's always been a bit more of a, pterosaur than a bird, but at the same time, if you look at concept art from the Lost World Jurassic Park, for example, the pterosaurs there, they gave, fluff to, because they believe they actually had some feathers now to help them be more aerodynamic. So, you could have at least changed things up a bit. But, again, like I said, that's only a slight criticism. I can't really criticise them for sticking with the original design, because otherwise I'd be a hypocrite because of what I'm about to say next. So so Rodan was fine, really. I'm just nitpicking, because I think it's just because it just looked like a generic scaly monster. I didn't look at that and think, oh, that's Rodan. I think some of its sounds were similar. I don't think they were quite the same as the traditional Rodan, but I might be wrong. Like I said, I was half asleep throughout the film, so I wouldn't know for sure. But I know almost for a fact that Ghidra didn't sound like it should. And that's really pissed me off, because it always had such a distinct sound, like really high-pitched, almost like a dolphin laugh. And it was really intimidating. In this film, it's just generic growls and grunts and, just in general. Speaking of generic, actually, I'm probably not the only one saying this, but I remember seeing a quick close-up of one of the heads of Ghidra, and all I can say is it just looked like Smaug from The Hobbit. I'm not joking. It just looked like it. 100% looked like Smaug. So I was like, it's just generic. Is that the generic scary dragon? Because I would say it looked quite scary and intimidating, which it did, but didn't look original. And as you should know by some of my other videos I've done recently and videos that are yet to come, I must have originality. I cannot stand it when things are just carbon copies of each other. And that was basically just fucking Smaug with 3 fucking heads, I don't know, it's... Well, I do know, and that's the problem. But I wasn't happy with the design of, like I said, at least the face design, and I wasn't happy with the sound design of Ghidra. And it's like you couldn't even see the bastard. It's like it was always surrounded in some bullshit cloud or something, You can never actually see what's going on. It really pissed me off, because I wanted to see him during the day. I could have a proper fight, maybe. Kong Skull Island is a perfect example, right? It weren't the best film ever made, but you had some decent acting in parts. You had some great film direction at parts. Like, some of the shots are so beautiful in that film. You can't deny that. Even if you don't think the film is very good, it's a very arty, stylistic film. It's very good. It's, artsy fartsy or not. It's still a very nice film it's a visual experience that should be, it's a visual experience that should be experienced. It's a visual spectacle that should be experienced, and that is Kong Skull Island. For the most part, it's a beautiful film, like, beautiful looking. But like I said, don't get me wrong, there are some really cringy moments, and overall the film is a bit of it's a bit naff. But it's a B movie and proud, I think, Kong Skull Island is. Whereas Godzilla 2014 wanted to be an A movie, but it only succeeded in being an ass movie. Literally, it's A for arse, not A for excellent, or, that would be an E, but you get the idea. It isn't an A for to show its brilliance. It's an A as in ass. But, so Godzilla 2, I assumed, was going to continue the more serious route. So although you've had Kong Skull Island with its more, upbeat, carefree, come along for the ride attitude, I did expect it was a return to the form, for better or worse, that 2014 brought upon us, which was a more serious approach to Godzilla. And it wasn't really, for the most part, because it was kind of like, this film might as well have been called Godzilla Let's Fight, because, literally, Godzilla Let's Fight, because the whole film, to me, was just a battle that you never saw. So much like people criticised, especially me, 2014's Godzilla, for always cutting away from the action, this one, although it doesn't cut away from the action, it technically doesn't stop cutting the action. It's literally just the typical cut. It's like 1,000 cuts a second. I can't see what's going on. Traditionally I wear glasses for a reason. I can't see what's going on. You've got freaking cuts coming left, right and centre, and I literally cannot see what's going on. My brain cannot focus on it. All I see is a sea of CGI, and it didn't look very good, in my opinion. I think for the most part, the CGI was actually pretty bad. I think there's a couple of shots where one of their heads breaks through the glass or something, and the colour tone from before and after they break through the glass is so different. It kind of looks like they've just been superimposed on a different image. It looks really bad. So I wasn't happy with that. So I think overall, in terms of the monsters, obviously they couldn't really change the design of Godzilla. I still think Godzilla looked a little slimmer, but, you know, other than that, the design was the same. The sound, you know, Godzilla's roar didn't actually roar that many times this film distinctively, and even then it still didn't really sound very good. It's much like it's the 2014 one, ain't it, where it just sounds a bit like it's just basically you know, it's basically that. You know, why couldn't they just use the original sound effects? I don't know, but anyway, they've had to continue suit. Much like I said about Pokemon, if they make another one now, they're probably going to have to continue with the look they've currently established in the universe. Because everyone has to have a cinematic universe these days. And that's the funny thing, although this is kind of paired into Godzilla, it is Godzilla. Because although this is paired into Kong, and we're getting that film next year, apparently, Godzilla vs. Kong, I don't know, they kind of don't feel like they're in the same world. It's like one of them's really like I said, one of them's really like colourful and I don't know. It's like you've literally got it's like grayscale and colour correction. That's what you've got. That's pretty much the best way I can describe it. You know, trying to put them together, and then, you know, you've just got a desaturated rainbow, and what's the fucking point in that? So I don't know. It's kind of like I think personally I think this film was a little bit more lively just because they were probably trying to make the difference. So it's kind of like it's a little bit more like Kong and not as much like the last Godzilla, but it's kind of like the in between. You know, it's the go between. That way, when Kong vs. Zilla comes out, if they want to do the Godzilla rather, can't even say Zilla for short these days. That's a different fucking monster, ain't it? Anyway, moving on, because I will have to talk about this film another time. I'll probably do a proper review on it, because I did have a lot to talk about, but I'm in a lot of pain. So yeah, action was messy. Like I said, the action was just terrible. Yeah, it was too dark and cloudy to see what's going on. Yeah, like I said, the action, was just blurry. So although there was a lot of monster fighting this time, it wasn't very well choreographed. You couldn't really see it. There should have been a lot of wide shots. I mean, they're fucking massive monsters. And that's the thing. For massive monsters, there weren't really much scale. There was nothing really in the foreground to give them some scale. They never actually felt that big until you maybe saw the odd person's perspective. And even then, that was rare. And that's the one thing Gareth Edwards did really well in Godzilla 2014. He showed perspective. He pretty much made every shot from the perspective of someone who could physically have been there. That's what he kind of set out to do. Whether it's on the top of a building or at the bottom of a building, every shot was technically plausible. For that we were seeing through someone's eyes. And I liked that. And I think, again, much in Godzilla 2014, I think there are some great examples of some great film directing. Unfortunately, when it comes to the acting, that all went out the window. But yeah, and don't even get me started on the script. But yeah, there are some great shots and some great examples of how to shoot those monsters. I never criticised his shots of the monsters. I just criticised his option to show the monster and then cut away. And although this film, like I said, doesn't cut away from the battle per se, it still cuts too much in the battle, so you can't really get your mind set on what's going on. Like if you've got a hand, like let's just say this is bear with me. Let's just pretend this is Ghidorah's head, one of three, and this is Godzilla, right? If it's coming in, what's wrong with a shot there? It's like snap, snap. Maybe he sprays a bit of fire, and then it cuts away to maybe another shot of behind where the head's trying to dodge. I know what I'm trying to say in my head. I can't really show you, but pretty much what they would do in that situation, it'd be it's like you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. And it was so confusing. But then again, I was half asleep, so maybe I missed some cool shit. But, I mean, I'll say one thing for the fighting. It was quite brutal in places. Like I said, when you could actually see what was going on, it was quite brutal. I mean, there was one bit where Godzilla actually ripped out I think he just bit it off and like ripped it out, one of Ghidorah's heads. Literally, I was like, oh my god! And then it kind of cut to a shot where you could see which head was taken, and it was the left one, so far left. And I was disappointed because I thought, oh, fuck's sake, if it had been the middle one, then that might have been referencing, oh, guess who's coming to town in the next couple of films? Mecha Ghidra, who has the middle head is fake. Yeah, it's robotic. But it ended up being the left head that he ripped out. So I was like, oh. But then 2 seconds later, it grew back, and I was like, oh, maybe not then. And, so it was very much like a Hydra, the mythical monster, except for it grew just its head back rather than growing two more back. But it did actually make me think of that, though. But they do actually reference the Hydra. Like, there's a bit in the film where they're saying all these monsters have been referenced before in folklore and in history books everywhere and different traditions and stuff, and that was pretty cool. They showed some real history, like hydras and stuff like this, that and the other. Could be a direct reference to to Ghidra and stuff, which I liked that. I thought that was pretty good. But even so, it was I was still kind of like, what direction we're kind of going here. But as for Ghidra, like I said, I didn't really like the design. It didn't sound like itself, and you couldn't really fucking see it because because it has lightning powers. Where does it get those lightning powers? It can't just fucking conjure them up, can it? No, of course it can't. So let's give it a fucking massive hurricane around it the whole time. It's a massive ass thunderstorm that basically it walks around like it's a fucking, you know what I mean? Walking around, it's got a fucking tutu on or something. It's pathetic. But, I don't know, it's just... I don't know. Like I said, it was just pathetic, and you couldn't really see what's going on. And speaking of pathetic, the characters, again, did they improve from 2014's Godzilla? Not really. In 2014's Godzilla, they were boring characters, and they were bland, you didn't really care for them. And they tried to make you care. In this film, they were still pretty bland, didn't like them, but the only thing is I didn't really try and make you care too much, so I guess that was okay. But, I mean, you got Millie Bobby Brown in the film, and, she's hot shit right now from, Stranger Things and stuff like that. And I like her as an actress. I think she's pretty good. And she was all right in this film. I didn't think she had much to work with, which was the problem. And that's the thing. Although I won't criticise her acting ability, I will criticise her character because I didn't really see too much of one. I mean, she kind of like there's this bit where she's kind of summoning the monsters and something. Like I said, I was half asleep. I don't fucking know. It was a forgetful film. And, I weren't asleep that much, so it was just a forgetful film. I mean, I talked in the car briefly with my mate on the way home. I didn't record it because I still was knackered. But, he kind of confirms that everything I'm saying is pretty much the case. Like, he said I only literally nodded off a couple of times really quick, so I didn't miss anything. But yeah, I mean, with me, Millie was in that film just to get the kind of views, to get people to see it. That's in my opinion, much like they did with Bryan Cranston in the first one. Just trying to get people from Breaking Bad to go watch the film, people who like him. And, although I'm not a fan of Breaking Bad, when I saw Godzilla 2014, I did think, this is going to be good because he's a great actor. And there was a great scene with him, and he was good for the first few minutes that he was in the film. And then when he got killed, it was just like... The film definitely suffered for it. And, spoiler alert, although Millie doesn't die... I say spoiler alert, the whole thing's listed as spoilers. Although Millie doesn't die, she doesn't really give much impact in the film. So it's not like if Brian had survived and carried on the whole of Godzilla, the first one, it would have made the film overall better, which I don't doubt it would have. But with this one, it's like Millie could have not been in the film, it wouldn't have made any difference, because they kind of just kept cutting back to her. And half the time I even forgot she was in the bloody film, it just kept cutting back to her randomly, and, she was just doing what she was doing, and I don't know, like I said, I think she was just there because she's hot shit right now, so they thought, we better get her on the film, And they kind of ruined the fact that she weren't going to die. I know she's not 15 years old, so they're not going to kill her off. They won't have the balls to kill off, a kid in these films. Not on camera or anything. Not someone. They're not going to get an actress of her current stature, shall we say, and just kill her. Which which is why half the reason I don't like them using big name celebrities in these disaster films, especially when it's Godzilla, where the stakes are supposed to be really high, because again, you're just like, well, they're not going to kill them off because they want to want them in the film. And that was probably the intent with the surprise in the last Godzilla film. They're like, oh, no one's going to think we're going to kill him off, especially soon, especially this early. Like, I bet they watched Psycho the night before and thought, oh yeah, we'll have some of that, but it ruined their film for it. It's not like they had a great supporting cast to carry the rest of the film. Godzilla can't be this Anthony Perkins. He can't just carry the rest of the film, you know what I mean, with his weird and wonderful ways, because it's Godzilla. Godzilla's supposed to be the semi-focus, but not the main focus. And I know a lot of people say Godzilla needs to be the main focus. No, Godzilla should be the main monster focus, don't get me wrong, but he shouldn't be the main focus. The main focus should be on the disaster and the chaos that is, you know, becoming of Godzilla, shall we say. And they didn't really do that. Like I said, they need to get the blend right. You need to get the blend right. It's 50-50 in my opinion. You're supposed to have just as much Godzilla and just as much destruction. But that's the thing. If Godzilla's approaching a fucking building, let me see him destroy the building and let me see people running away in terror. Maybe even see him from the perspective of someone in one of the windows looking up going, oh shit, I'm dead. You know, but you didn't get none of that. None of that. It was basically like me playing Godzilla with my brother, you know what I mean, with these Lego freaking buildings, or even better yet, sand castles we just built. Stepping on makes no freaking difference. We'll rebuild them in a minute. Doesn't matter if there's a couple of, you know, let's pretend people running around, because they're not really there. So just destroy buildings, we don't care. There's no, you know, there's no sense of, you know, true destruction and death. And that's what I really liked about the original teaser for Godzilla, which for the life of me I can't find online anymore. I think it was like the Comic-Con teaser, and I found it leaked many, many years ago, and it was confirmed to be the real one, but they've taken it down. And I think the reason they've taken it down is because it was so freaking good. It basically used a very famous quote, and basically what was being shown over it was buildings, like there was like smoke spewing from buildings, massive holes in buildings everywhere, like all over the floor. There was a train crash that looked like it had been squashed like a pancake in weird places, and there was just like dead bodies laid out, almost like they were counting them, how many dead bodies there were. And I remember watching it going, fucking hell, this is intense. And I know you had some of those shots, it did end up in the actual film, but in the context of the film we ended up seeing, it didn't really hit home half as much. Like this was such a dark teaser. And you had like when he says, oh, Vishnu takes on his multi-armed form and stuff like that, and you see this weird freaking like centipede thing with like these weird massive fingernails, and it's like lots of hands all twisted like that, and you got someone's house there with like a little aerial and like a little crow on it kind of thing. I'm just like, that's perspective. We're seeing how big this motherfucker is based on that house it's laying next to. And even then, the monster design looked really off and weird and looked awesome. And somehow none of that made it into the film, and we end up with the shit that we got. But the point I'm trying to make is perspective, okay? There has to be some kind of perspective, and there wasn't any in this film. Like I said, it was just, most of the angles were taken with the monsters, not away from the monsters, kind of looking at them. And when it's just a mess of CGI, my eyes cannot handle it, because it's just, that's all it is. I'm just watching a video game. You know, it's you know, I never understand why they can't just make suits. You know, people moan all the time saying, oh, they'd never look realistic, this, that, and the other. For all the flaws Godzilla 98 had, they used a lot of practical effects, and when you watch that film now, a lot of it holds up pretty well. I'm not joking, I would rather watch the 98 version than watch the 2014 version, and I'd rather watch the 98 version than watch this fucking version. Because at least the 98 version actually, although my ears cannot handle the script that I'm listening to, and my eyes burn from the acting, that is so shit, at the same time, my eyes are at least given moments of comfort when I see some practical fucking effects. And they did actually use a guy in a suit at some points, like I've discussed in the past. And films like Jurassic Park prove that you can use animatronics and suits and stuff like that to make it look fucking real. Use CGI as a last fucking resort, not before. But with Godzilla, oh, we're making a Godzilla film, so we know the whole thing's CGI. Do you? Do you really? Look at fucking, what's it, Shinzilla or something like that? The bits where that's a guy in a suit look fucking awesome. And again, you get that sense of reality, because it's perspective. And you need that perspective. I love the shots from the old Japanese Godzilla films where you literally, and that's in Shinzilla as well, where you've got like a wide shot of a city, and then you've got the massive monster slowly walking towards it. It's like, holy shit, look at the size of that motherfucker. You don't get that kind of perspective in this film. Not to my knowledge, anyway. Like I said, I can't remember. It's such a forgettable film. I literally cannot remember half of what happened. And it's not just because I was, in and out of sleep, but it's also because the film was just a CGI mess of fighting. It was kind of like the board of directors turned around and said, everyone's complaining that there weren't enough Godzilla fighting in the last film. Okay, so let's make a film where it's just him fighting. And again, they've used the Bourne Identity method of action, which is can't see what the fuck is going on. But it's worse when it's CGI. It's bad enough when you've got real people fighting and there's like 1,000 shots a second. But when you've got monsters that are CGI fighting and it's 1,000 shots a second, you just can't see. It's just a blur. The whole thing's a motion blur. It's just like, can't be done with it. Can't be doing with it. Fuck off. So yeah, I mean, but just quickly back onto characters, as I was saying, like I said, I'm going all over the place, going through subjects here quicker than Mastermind, but there was this guy who does like lots of one-liners, and I remember in the trailer, someone's like, oh my god, and he's like, Zilla. That was actually the cut in the film. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my god, no! Like, literally, the guy's like, my god, Zilla. He's like... Oh no! Oh, literally, this film I cannot handle. Look, my hair's fallen out. I literally cannot handle this fucking film. There are moments like that. I was just reading some of my fucking notes here because I'm trying to remember some of the shit that happened. You got that fucking son of a bitch and I can't believe it's actually cut like that in the film though. That's the thing. Fucking, So, I don't know, I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? It is what it is. I mean, I don't even know what else to say, really. I know I haven't been very good, but I'm very ill, and I'm high on pills, and God knows what else. I just wanted to give you my first thoughts. My first thoughts are genuinely that the film was a mess, okay? So here we go. The film, in my opinion, was a mess in terms of the plot, because you've got villains. You've got the main villain, which is obviously Ghidorah or Ghidra, as you'd pronounce it. But then you've got a human villain, played by his name's escaped me, but he's been in a lot of films. People might know him mainly from maybe being as the Doctor in Alien 3, or they probably actually know him more as the fucking Lannister from. The old man Lannister from Game of fucking Thrones, which is again why he's probably in the film, because of Game of Thrones. But he is a well-known actor. I just can't remember his fucking name. And he is a great actor, but because he's recently been in Game, because he was in Game of Thrones a few years ago or something, that's probably why they've used him. Much like just after Game of Thrones, they had to fucking use that fucking bitch to play Jean Grey in the X-Men, who I think's a miscast. Big time. But anyway, that's another story. So yeah, like I said, the characters were just forgettable. There's like some device, they try and like reference the original film in a way where it's like they've got like this device to this device to kind of kill the monsters, where it takes their oxygen, and it doesn't fucking work. Ghidorah just fucking flies off, and Godzilla is confirmed dead. But then they find his body, and he's not dead. He's just resting at the bottom of what looks to be Atlantis. Yeah, they find fucking Atlantis, it would seem, in this film. So it's like, what the fuck's going on? I don't know. Literally, it's like... Between the shitty one-liners, the bad acting, the fucking shitty plot, the bad action... The fact that nothing's ever fucking visible, like I said, it all happens either at night or in the clouds, or it's raining, or... And don't get me wrong, I like action in the rain, but again, it has to be practical. Because when it's CGI and rain just looks bad. You're asking for trouble. you know, literally, I don't even know what else to fucking say. I don't even think I've missed anything out. This is literally all I fucking had to say. The film was shit. The film was shit, and the film was shit, apparently. You know, I mean, we want to talk about monsters quickly. Mothra was in the film, and she looked alright. I like Mothra. Mothra's one of my favourite monsters. You know, she's adorable. Every time I play a game of Pokemon and there's a moth character, like Venomoth or shit, I've forgotten what it's called. There's like this big ass fucking fiery one. In generation 5, 6, I don't know. I've lost that, and oh fuck's sake. Ugh. But there's this big ass moth, right? And every time I play as those characters as part of my team, I always call Mothra. I can't help it. So I love Mothra, and for the most part, I think she looked alright. She had some weird arms going on, but I guess they were more realistic than just the standard fat, you know, body with the little arms coming off it. So flying around going, you know, having the arms like this was probably a bit more realistic, you know. But I don't know. I can't really complain about her design. There were some beautiful shots, like when she hatches and stuff, and if you got the wings coming out. It's all in the trailer. And I think she dies in the film. I think I remember seeing her die. And everyone's like, oh. But I'm just like, she dies in every fucking film. Like, that's her tradition. She always has to die, and then she gets reborn. She always lays an egg before she dies. It was actually funny, because the scientist talking about Mothra being a companion to Godzilla, and this guy's like, what's those two kind of like, you know, it's not that you have as there. But no, the guy basically, it's the typical, it's like there always has to be someone who has to try and imply sex for the other person to then tell them no. You know, and it's always the filmmakers and the scriptwriters thinking they're clever, because they're saying what they want to say, but then they've always got that one person to reassure the audience to say, yeah, we know it's not possible, don't worry. It's kind of like when someone's racist in a show or something. It's always like someone might say a racist comment. You've always got that one person to turn around and go, man, you can't say that. Just to reassure the audience that that person's not speaking for the whole show or the whole cast, the whole cast of characters rather. But you get what I'm saying. So again, it's the typical. The guy's like, "What's those two kind of like, you know, got it on or something?" And they turn around and said, "There are more to companions than just sex, pretty much." That's basically what they say. But I'd have been like, "Answer the question," But no, yes, basically, rather than just say Mothra's an ally, they have to make it some weird fucking raunchy fanfic, you know, and then at the end of the credits, there's basically some more of the film that you never saw, pretty much, which is again just like, I think, the aftermath of the film where they're finding new discoveries, and you see an egg, and it's just like, is that Godzilla's egg, or, you know, is it Mothra's egg? You know, I can't even remember what the egg looked like, but it's like you got the egg, and which they find, and it could be Godzilla. You know, could have laid an egg, because then they're maybe doing Son of Godzilla. But I think more likely it's probably Mothra's egg, since as she died and she always has to come back, so it wouldn't surprise me. At the very, very, very end of the film, there is a sequence, there is a quick scene where basically evil guy number 1 meets evil monster number 2. So basically there's some underground black market going on, and this guy wants to buy this giant head, and basically it's Ghidorah's cut off head. It's all like rotting a bit, but it's kind of slouched over, it's all rotting and stuff, and he's like, we'll take it. And because it's already been implied that, you know, Ghidorah can regenerate, I'm guessing he's going to try and find some way of regenerating the monster, possibly to make it some kind of their version of maybe Mecha King Ghidorah, or Ghidorah. So we don't know. We have to see what happens in the films to come. But yeah, obviously they in that sequence I was telling you about, where they find out the egg and stuff like that, it finishes with them referencing, there's like a painting someone's done, like again a cave painting of Kong and Godzilla. So it's building up for the next film, but yeah, I mean, what else is there to say, really? I know this has been an absolute mess. I do apologise. But I just wanted to say something about the film, you know, because I've just seen it, and I know some people would probably expect me to talk about it, seeing as I've done quite a few Godzilla things in the past. And I mentioned it during Detective Pikachu, so I thought I'd just let you know that obviously I haven't been able to give my full opinion, because it's always nice to have your buddy next to you, because sometimes they'll say something to remind you of something, like, oh yeah, and then I can talk about it. So I do prefer doing this as a two-piece, because I can bounce off what they're saying, and it's also good to get a second opinion. But me on my own here, feeling like utter shit, hurts to even talk, and I've been talking for over 40 minutes, and it burns. I think you guys can at least appreciate that I'm trying to give you some kind of content. So, well, I'm out of water, which means I'm out of time, because it hurts too much. But just to clarify, I didn't think the film was very good. I thought it was forgettable to the point where I can't remember much. This is why, like I said, this is why I like having two people, because I'm able to be reminded of stuff. But yeah, the film was forgettable. The action was just a mess, in my opinion, and just crap CGI. I actually think the CGI is worse in some places, or at least it looks it. And again, that's down to textures and stuff. Even if CGI, it's like I've said this before, I'm sure, but basically, it's like the CGI in Jurassic World is technically light years better than the CGI used in Jurassic Park, because obviously Jurassic Park was so primitive at the time, they had just developed it pretty much. But the reason it works so much better in Jurassic Park is because they didn't overdo it. It's like in I don't know. It's like in Rogue One, really, or any of those films, right? For the most part, Peter Cushing's character looks pretty good, but again, they can't get lips right. And it's more noticeable at the end with Princess Leia, because all she says is hope. That's all she says. Now watch my fucking lips when I say hope, okay? Hope. 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 See, even I'm looking at myself. Hope. 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 Pop. Wop. Hope. Pop. Wop. Hope. Pretty fucking similar, right? I'm saying hope, I'm saying pop, I'm saying wop. It's hope, pop, whop, hop. Mostly it's just hop, hop, hop. But when they fucking animate, they can't take hope as hope, because it don't look like hope. Because again, I could be saying fucking anything. I could be saying coke. So what they do is they go hope. It's always like that. Everything they say has to be over exaggerated. Literally, that's what they do in the animation. They can't. Half of what I say, because I'm a fat shit, half of what I say, my body don't fucking move. My cheeks kind of just squish the lips down. So I'm just like, you alright, mate? I just whip up. It's just basically like that. But instead of like, what have they given us? Hope. Instead it's hope. And it looks shit. So what I'm saying is, they put too much effort in these days, in some cases. Some cases they don't care. But in some cases they put too much effort into the point where it looks bad. And it doesn't fucking work. Too much CGI to the point of shitness. And that pretty much concludes everything, really. Like I said, the monsters, it was nice to see some classics, but at the same time, if they didn't call them what they were called, then would we know? I mean, hell, for the first half of the film, they pretty much call Ghidra Monster Zero, which, it's a cool reference to the... Good job that bottle was empty, ain't it? It's a cool reference to some of the older Godzilla films, like when they first spot it, because, that's the name it's originally given. And it is cool that they do admit that it's from space. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I need to watch it again. I think I'll probably appreciate more of what they did after a second viewing. But overall, the execution is still pretty bad. Like I said, the characters I still don't care for. There weren't ever any sense of true fear. And come on, this is fucking Ghidra. I should be shitting my pants, but I wasn't. I get more satisfaction watching fucking Godzilla destroy all monsters on VHS than I do watching the film I've just seen. There was no real sense of brute force other than a couple of moments here and there. Like I said, there was no real sense of scale. And that's really disappointing. And not just disappointing, but that's a cosmetic fucking failure, isn't it? You know, cosmetic, even a fucking word. That is a tremendous failure for a Godzilla film, to not be able to implement scale. But anyway, that's that. So yeah, acting was crap for the most part. Characters weren't very good. Monsters were okay, but if they pretty much had to tell you what they were because you wouldn't really recognise them. And there were some couple of other weird fucking monsters we've never seen before, like a fucking woolly mammoth. I mean, yeah, I'm all for new monsters, so I ain't complaining too much, but they could have thrown another one at us, like maybe Angoras or something, you know? Angoras, more like it, but yeah. Well, hoppers, that just about does it for this video. I'm going to stop there. I did have a lot more to talk about, but I can't remember for the life of me. Like I said, I need my second person to pretty much remind me. I don't have the worst memory, don't get me wrong, but it's like anything. When you see a film just once, sometimes you've got so much going on in your head, it's hard to remember. And when you're on fucking, you know, medication galore, it's fucking difficult to even have the patience to try and remember, especially when it's a film that I didn't enjoy. So, verdict... out of 5 stars, I'd probably give it a 2. I might be persuaded to give it a 3. I'll say... Alright, 2.5 stars. I'll give it 2.5 stars for now. After a second viewing, it might push to a 3, but I doubt it. Like I said, I love Godzilla, just in general, so I'm still happy they're making more videos. I'm still happy they're making more movies, just to keep the kind of brand alive. And that's the same thing I have with Jurassic World. Although I didn't like Fallen Kingdom, and for the most part didn't like Jurassic World, I still like the fact that they're keeping the brand alive, because I'm in love with the Jurassic franchise. And in the same way, I'm kind of in love with, not as much, but I'm still in love with the Godzilla franchise. I kind of, I love the whole concept of it and all that. Same with Pokemon. So really, all the time they're making something to do with these films or shows or games, whatever, I'll always be satisfied deep down because they're keeping it alive. They're keeping it relevant. You know, I think the biggest fan you could be, I think, you know, the easiest thing you could be right now is a Scooby-Doo fan, because it's never ever going. so many variants of it. But again, if you're a Scooby-Doo fan, then... you know, I wouldn't call myself a fan, I've got nothing against it. I used to watch it, but I wouldn't call myself a massive fan. But again, if you are, I bet you're loving life, because it just doesn't go away. And it's sort of with this, I'm happy for them to make more Godzilla films, but at the same time, unlike DC fans, and I like Marvel films and DC films. No, I take that back. See, it's medication. I like Marvel films. I think most of the DC films are shit. I like Marvel comics and DC comics. But that's the point. DC fans need to get their act together and realise that they can't just praise every film, even if it's shit, in the hope they'll get more. You've got to tell them it's shit, so they make good ones. And that's what I'm saying now for Godzilla. Godzilla, twice now, you've made 2 really shit films. So please, I beg you, make the next one good. But then again, it's Godzilla vs. Kong, so it's probably not going to be. Then again, the original was pretty fucking funny. So yeah, we'll see what happens, people, but I'm going to leave it there. I've been talking now for about 50 fucking minutes, on my own, repeating myself, fucking just had enough with life. But, you know, take care. If you're looking for more videos, like Pokemon videos and stuff, they are on their way. It's just there's new announcements coming soon, so no point releasing a new video and pretty much it getting debunked on the same day as there, so... And like I said, because I've been so ill for the last couple of weeks, that's why there's been delays, because I haven't been in the mindset. I've been so ill, like I've been so ill and dizzy and just everything to sit in front of a computer screen and try and give you good content. And I don't like giving you crap. You know, I put all the effort I possibly can into each video, so I don't want to lose my quality just because I'm ill. That being said, I've gone and done this video, so I pretty much have anyway. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I have. Take care, hoppers, and I'll see you next time. Fuck. Jesus. Godzilla!